Buckle up, because if part 1 was wild, part 2 is pure Halloween insanity. Skeletons causing climate change, ghosts in therapy, and HOA losing their holy minds. Welcome to 56 Weirdest Halloween Complaints, where spooky meets stupid. 1. A man in Texas called the police because his neighbor's 12-foot skeleton was facing the wrong direction. He claimed the bones were spiritually spying on his backyard grill. The cops showed up, took one look, and told him to just rotate his grill. He later posted online that the skeleton caused his brisket to burn unevenly, which he considered a curse. The HOA got involved, suggesting all skeletons face east to balance the community's energy. Now the whole street looks like a bony sunrise, and the skeleton guy has become a local legend for summoning dawn. Halloween decor meets yoga retreat, Texas edition. 2. A Florida mom wrote a 600-word Facebook post complaining that her son's pumpkin spice latte costume was too adult for kindergarten. She said caffeine culture was poisoning children's innocence. When another parent replied that her daughter was going as an espresso martini, a full war broke out in the comments. The school had to ban beverage costumes altogether, which somehow led to a boycott of Starbucks. Local news covered it like it was a caffeine crime wave. By the end of the week, half the PTA showed up dressed as bottled water in protest. The kids just wanted candy, but they learned about adult meltdowns instead. 3. A man in Ohio put up a motion-activated candy bowl that screamed like a demon every time someone reached in. A dad complained on Nextdoor that his toddler developed chronic jump scares. The man defended himself, saying it was exposure therapy for fear. Someone else argued it qualified as emotional cardio. The HOA issued a noise warning, but trick-or-treaters lined up anyway because the candy was king-size. Eventually, the dad came back dressed as a priest and sprinkled holy water on the bowl. It short-circuited and started smoking, which only made the line longer. The internet called it the possessed Reese's. 4. A California influencer threw a non-scary Halloween party where guests were told not to use any black, orange, or fake blood. Her neighbor complained the pastel pumpkins looked cultish. The influencer clapped back, saying trauma-friendly Halloween was the future. Someone leaked the guest list. It included 3 exes, a psychic, and a man dressed as emotional availability. When fog machines triggered the sprinklers, everyone ran outside holding gluten-free snacks like artifacts. The neighbor called it an aesthetic seance. The party trended under #PastelPurge. HOA still hasn't recovered from the lavender spiderwebs hanging in the palm trees. 5. A retiree in Arizona claimed Halloween had become a front for alien recruitment. He filed an official complaint to the city after his neighbor's inflatable UFO abducted a skeleton on the lawn. He said the light beams interfered with his pacemaker. When officers checked, the display turned out to be solar-powered. He still insisted the galactic agenda was real and refused to come outside until November. Meanwhile, kids started calling his house Area 51. Someone left him glow sticks shaped like candy corn. The man eventually joined a podcast to raise awareness. The only real abduction was his free time. 6. In Oregon, a woman accused her neighbor's fog machine of causing emotional respiratory distress. She claimed the fog carried sad ghost energy that made her golden retriever refuse walks. When city inspectors arrived, they found the fog machine plugged into a smart outlet labeled spooky mode. The woman tried to sue for haunted air exposure, but the judge dismissed it after her dog barked at the bailiff. Local news called it the first atmospheric harassment case in the county. The neighbor now sells t-shirts that say, "Breathe deeply, it's just Halloween." The woman still posts daily fog forecasts on Facebook, ranking which houses have the most toxic vibes. 7. A teenager in Michigan filed a complaint that trick-or-treating was discriminatory against introverts. He argued door-to-door candy collection violated personal boundaries. His parents backed him, suggesting the city adopt a silent treat drop system where people leave candy in mailboxes with affirmations. The city council actually discussed it for 5 minutes before laughter broke out. He later hosted an introvert Halloween on Zoom, where everyone muted themselves and held up candy to their webcams. Attendance was 3 people and 1 confused cat. He posted a follow-up essay titled, "Trick-or-treating is emotional trespassing." Ironically, his essay went viral. and now strangers mail him Skittles every October. 8. A Los Angeles woman claimed her neighbor's animatronic clown was performing dark rituals after midnight. She said the clown's laughter synced with the moon cycle and summoned chaos into her Wi-Fi. When reporters showed up, the clown malfunctioned and started repeating the word giggle until its batteries died. The footage went viral as the Moon Clown Massacre, even though the only victim was a tipped-over garden gnome. The woman still insists the clown controls the neighborhood's electricity grid. The power company sent her a stress ball shaped like a lightning bolt. Now she lights sage every night, but the clown's eyes still flicker from next door, fueled purely by pettiness. 9. A man in Wisconsin claimed Halloween candy inflation was part of a corporate conspiracy. He wrote a 900-word Yelp review blaming Big Candy for shrinking chocolate bars. He even posted side-by-side photos from 2007 versus 2025, holding a ruler like it was forensic evidence. When a friend suggested maybe his hands just got bigger, he unfriended half his town. He built a display in his yard featuring tombstones labeled fun size and value pack. Trick-or-treaters thought it was performance art and started taking selfies. Now he gives out spreadsheets with every Snickers he hands out. He says it's to raise awareness, but honestly, the kids just like the graphs. 10. A pastor in Georgia went viral for hosting a Halloween protest, where everyone dressed as Bible characters to reclaim the holiday. Things went downhill fast when one guy came as Jonah inside a giant inflatable fish that knocked over 3 kids dressed as angels. The pastor called it a sign from above. A woman dressed as Eve got banned for handing out apples. The event ended when a Moses costume tripped over his staff and face-planted into the communion punch. The local paper's headline read, "Holy Chaos Hits Halloween." Ironically, the pastor later admitted he missed regular Halloween because at least the devils brought candy. 11. A Kansas dad complained to City Hall that his neighbor's pumpkins were politically biased. He claimed the carved faces leaned left because one had bigger eyes and a smaller mouth. The city clerk thought it was satire until he brought printed photos labeled liberal lanterns. He demanded fair representation, suggesting one pumpkin smiled to the right for balance. When reporters arrived, the neighbor carved a third pumpkin labeled neutral and put a sticker on it saying independent gourd. The dad then called the local paper fake news and smashed all 3 with a rake. The town called it the Great Pumpkin Debate, and someone even live-streamed the cleanup like an election recount. 12. In Colorado, a woman called the sheriff to report that her neighbor's fake graveyard was creating unnecessary grief. She said walking past tombstones with names like RIP Diet and Here Lies My Motivation gave her seasonal depression. The sheriff suggested she take another route, but she insisted it was emotional littering. Eventually, she built her own positivity garden with tombstones reading, "Live, Laugh, Love Forever." Teenagers immediately turned it into a photo spot for mock funerals. The woman later filed a second complaint for disrespecting her affirmations. Her neighborhood is now split between Team Tombstone and Team Positivity, and local realtors use it as a cautionary tale during open houses. 13. A Pennsylvania teen tried to sue a Spirit Halloween store for false advertising after his vampire costume failed to get him any compliments at a party. He claimed emotional damage from lack of attention. His mother supported the case, calling it confidence malpractice. The court dismissed it after realizing he wore it backwards the entire night. He doubled down, starting a petition for costume satisfaction guarantees. It gained 30 signatures, mostly bots. The store manager framed the lawsuit on the wall as Employee of the Month, the Lawsuit Kid. Now every Halloween, locals show up to take pictures in front of the costume rack labeled "Guaranteed to disappoint at least one vampire." 14. A Florida neighborhood had a meltdown after someone decorated their lawn with animatronic flamingos in witch hats. An older resident called it tropical blasphemy and emailed the mayor demanding an investigation into witchcraft tourism. When local news covered it, the homeowner leaned into the chaos by installing a fake cauldron filled with plastic margaritas. Tourists started visiting just to take selfies with the drunk flamingo coven. The HOA issued a cease and desist letter, but the flamingos multiplied overnight to 60. Someone even left a sign saying, "You can't cancel birds." The HOA eventually gave up and added a clause banning avian accessories that provoke moral panic. The homeowner now sells t-shirts that read Flamingo Witch Forever. 15. In Nevada, a grocery store worker went viral after complaining that customers kept treating him like part of the Halloween decor because of his black uniform and pale complexion. He said people kept taking selfies next to him, thinking he was a vampire statue. One kid even poked him with a glow stick to see if he'd move. The store tried adding a name tag that read, "Definitely Alive," but it only made things worse. Eventually, they gave him a shirt that said, "I'm not dead, just underpaid." Now he leans into it, standing perfectly still in the candy aisle for TikToks. The internet calls him Count Discount, and he fully deserves it. 16. A Tennessee family's haunted house attraction got shut down because one animatronic ghost shouted, "Pay your taxes." Guests claimed it triggered financial trauma. The dad who built it said it was social commentary, not horror. The county disagreed, labeling it economic intimidation. When a TikTok clip of the ghost went viral, the IRS even commented, "We approve this message." That didn't help. The family tried to rebrand as Fiscal Frights, offering discounts for accountants. But the city revoked the permit after a kid cried during the refund scene. Now the ghost sits in their garage muttering about deductions, while the dad's wife jokes that it's still haunting their marriage. 17. In New Jersey, a man installed a 15-foot werewolf on his roof that howled every hour. He said it was art. His neighbors said it was terrorism. One guy threw a slipper at it, which only made the motion sensor louder. The city sent a fine, but he appealed, claiming it was his spiritual companion. A petition to remove it failed because the werewolf got its own fan club online called Roof Wolf Nation. The HOA threatened legal action, but then someone 3D printed a baby werewolf and left it in his yard. Now the whole street howls together every full moon, and tourists stop by just to join in. 18. A vegan influencer in Portland filed a complaint against a candy company because their gummy worms were emotionally manipulative. She said the texture mocked the cruelty of gelatin. The brand responded by offering her a sponsorship deal to make plant-based spooky snakes. She declined and made a 2-hour documentary titled "The Worms That Lied." It accidentally boosted candy sales by 200%. Her followers called it a betrayal of vegan values, and she held a candlelight vigil at a Whole Foods parking lot. Someone filmed her releasing real worms into the grass, shouting, "Be free, my chewy brothers." The worms immediately got eaten by birds. 19. A Boston man tried to start a Halloween petition to replace pumpkins with pineapples because pumpkins discriminate against tropical climates. He even carved one and called it Pino Lantern. His neighbors laughed until the smell of rotting pineapple took over the street. A raccoon invasion followed, and one got stuck in the pineapple. The man insisted it was proof the ecosystem was adjusting. The local paper dubbed him the Fruit Crusader. He's now banned from the farmer's market after handing out pineapple seeds labeled Future of Fall. He still holds annual pineapple carvings, but no one comes because it turns into a fruit fly rave. 20. In Seattle, an artist painted skeleton murals on his house to celebrate death's equality. His next-door neighbor filed a complaint saying the bones were too judgmental. She claimed one skeleton looked like it was staring into her kitchen while she made toast. He responded by adding sunglasses to every skeleton. She said that made it worse because now they look smug. A neighborhood poll found the bones had higher approval ratings than the mayor. When local teens started posing for selfies calling it bone talk, she tried to cover her windows with aluminum foil. The artist added one final skeleton holding binoculars, and now it's a tourist spot on Google Maps. 21. In Arizona, a man complained that his neighbor's skeletons were too romantic. He said the two skeletons in rocking chairs holding hands made his single life unbearable. The neighbor refused to separate them, saying true love never dies, but without irony. The man started putting up lonely skeletons across his yard to balance the energy. Within days, people began calling it the cemetery of heartbreak. Tourists visited just to take selfies with the loneliest skeleton holding a sign that said it's complicated. The HOA begged him to stop multiplying skeletons, but he said he couldn't control their emotions anymore. Now the local paper calls it Arizona's first paranormal soap opera. 22. A Texas mom started a neighborhood campaign to ban fake spider webs because her cat got tangled in one, and she called it arachnid oppression. She made posters with slogans like "Free the Felines" and "Webs are Weapons." The local PetSmart offered her a coupon for calming spray, which she took as an insult. Her neighbors responded by decorating their lawns with even more webs, forming what they called the spider resistance. Soon the entire block looked like a giant Halloween cocoon. She eventually moved, leaving a sign that read, "You're all tangled in sin." Her old street now hosts an annual web-off competition where the winner gets a plastic cat trophy. 23 in Utah, a man filed a complaint after his neighbor replaced traditional pumpkins with turnips, saying the switch was offensive to American gourds. He started a petition called "Make Pumpkins Great Again" and carved a massive orange pumpkin with that exact phrase on it. His neighbor retaliated with a turnip army display spelling out "Evolve." The street became divided between Team Pumpkin and Team Turnip. Local kids sold shirts that read, "Rooted in Chaos." A reporter covering the feud accidentally slipped on a turnip, breaking her camera, and the clip went viral. Now the neighborhood celebrates Gourd Independence Day every year with both vegetables and mandatory peace pies. 24. In Chicago, a woman complained to DoorDash support that her food delivery driver was dressed as a zombie and scared her child. She demanded compensation for emotional distress and said the driver weaponized Halloween. The company apologized and refunded her fries, but she wanted more: an official costume-free delivery policy. The internet mocked her relentlessly, especially after someone found her TikTok video using a zombie filter. DoorDash joked back with a Halloween promotion called Frights and Fries. The driver gained 20,000 followers for trauma delivery vlogs. The woman deleted her social media but now only orders through carrier pigeon, claiming she trusts birds more than humans. 25. A Brooklyn man complained that his local coffee shop's Halloween theme was too sincere. He said the fake cobwebs made him confront mortality before caffeine. The barista responded by adding a skeleton arm stirring his latte. He left a 1-star review titled "Existential Espresso." The shop leaned into it, renaming their drinks Dead Roast and Life's Pumpkin Misery. People lined up just to take selfies with the depressed skeleton barista. He threatened to sue for emotional exhaustion, but ended up on a podcast called Brewing with Ghosts. Ironically, it became his therapy session, and now he hosts poetry nights at the same cafe, surrounded by skeletons and acceptance. 26. In Minnesota, a teacher banned Halloween costumes at her school after one student dressed as a cryptocurrency ghost and scared the principal into thinking the budget vanished. Parents complained it ruined the holiday spirit. The student went viral for holding a sign that read, "Boo, but make it blockchain." The superintendent issued an apology video wearing vampire fangs for damage control. Meanwhile, other schools started Crypto Costume Day in solidarity. The teacher quit social media after her class started chanting, "Decentralize Halloween" every recess. The ghost kid later released NFTs of his costume photo. The collection sold out in minutes, and now he's literally haunting the market. 27. A Seattle yoga studio held a mindful Halloween event where participants were told to meditate instead of scream. One woman filed a complaint after someone exhaled too loudly and disturbed her aura. The instructor tried to calm everyone by burning sage, setting off the smoke alarm. Firefighters arrived to find people sitting cross-legged in silence while the alarm blared. The event became a viral meme called "Inner Peace, Outer Chaos." The woman demanded a refund for spiritual interruption. The studio responded with a free class titled "Letting Go of Complaints." She didn't attend because she said she hadn't forgiven the air yet. 28. A Florida teenager complained to city council that Halloween candy was too elitist. He argued full-size bars promoted income inequality among neighborhoods. His parents thought he was joking until he created a PowerPoint presentation comparing Reese's distribution per capita. Local news interviewed him as the candy economist. Some parents took it seriously and started a fair candy exchange program where kids trade based on sugar weight. Chaos ensued when a Snickers shortage led to black market trading. The teen later went on a podcast and admitted he didn't even like candy. He just wanted to prove his economics teacher wrong. Now he's known as the trick or trade kid. 29. A Montana woman sued her HOA for emotional damages after a neighbor's haunted house used a foghorn sound effect that reminded her of her ex-husband's snoring. The HOA refused to intervene, saying sound memories weren't protected under neighborhood law. She started playing whale noises in retaliation, claiming it was sound therapy. Within a week, the entire block sounded like an aquarium having a panic attack. The haunted house owner retaliated by adding pirate ship sounds, making it the first nautical nightmare event in town. The woman eventually dropped the lawsuit after discovering her ex had moved into the next neighborhood, which unfortunately has a yearly foghorn festival. 30 in Ohio, a man protested trick-or-treating by handing out business cards instead of candy that said "invest in knowledge." Kids retaliated by leaving him bad Yelp reviews under "candyless creep." He doubled down and started an educational booth called Smart or Sweet with math quizzes for chocolates. A 10-year-old beat his highest score and walked away with his entire Snickers stash. The next day, his driveway was filled with candy wrappers spelling "knowledge lost." The local library invited him for a sweet math talk, but only 2 people came. Both were kids demanding refunds. He deleted his Yelp but kept the booth. He says he's rebranding Halloween into Harvard. 31. A family in Illinois filed a complaint that their neighbor's Halloween music included too many 80s hits. They said Thriller and Ghostbusters were overplayed and emotionally manipulative. The neighbor responded by blasting the same songs louder every night at 3 a.m. Eventually, the family called the police, but the responding officer joined the dance instead. Videos of the haunted dance-off went viral, and the street became a local attraction. The HOA later tried to ban thematic choreography, but the residents refused. Now, every October, the whole block performs synchronized Thriller moves in skeleton onesies. The original complainers moved away, but rumor says they still twitch when they hear a bass line. 32. In Kentucky, a man started a petition to regulate candy distribution by nut content transparency. He said too many people were giving out Snickers without warning and called it peanut propaganda. He even brought allergy charts door to door like a campaigner. His neighbors started giving out plain rice cakes just to spite him. Kids began calling his house the Bland Zone. Someone eventually taped a sign on his door reading, "Now hiring taste buds." He tried to sue Mars but accidentally mailed the paperwork to NASA. The story blew up online, and he became known as the Peanut Patriot. Ironically, he later opened a peanut-free bakery called Nuts About Nothing. 33. A New York apartment resident complained that the building's Halloween decorations were economically insensitive because the fake cobwebs looked too luxurious. She argued real cobwebs were more authentic and sustainable. The janitor, fed up, stopped cleaning the lobby so natural cobwebs could form. Within a week, the building looked like a set from a vampire movie. She then complained again, saying the spiders were performing without consent. The landlord threw a Halloween party to celebrate the chaos, inviting the exterminator as guest of honor. The woman boycotted but still charged her neighbors for aesthetic consulting. The spiders have since unionized under the slogan, "We spin, we win." 34. In Pennsylvania, a grandmother got banned from her church after replacing the nativity scene with skeletons dressed as the 3 wise men. She claimed it was seasonal modernization. The pastor called it sacrilege. She responded by adding a skeleton baby Jesus holding a pumpkin. The video hit 10 million views in 2 days. She now sells skeletivity sets on Etsy and claims she's just spreading awareness for eternal fashion. The church eventually forgave her, but asked she move her business to the parking lot. Every Sunday, people show up for prayer and leave with glow-in-the-dark holy skeletons. Her new slogan says it all: faith never dies. 35. A high school in California banned horror movie costumes after a student dressed as a tax audit. He wore a suit covered in IRS logos and handed fake bills to classmates. The principal said it caused financial panic. The student argued it was performance art about capitalism. The debate went viral on TikTok under #AuditBoy. He later gave a TEDx talk titled "Filing Fear." Now other schools report students dressing as rent increases and expired coupons. Teachers dread October not for ghosts, but for real-life jump scares. The kid's costume is now displayed in the local museum under the plaque, "The Scariest Outfit of 2025. 36. A man in Oklahoma claimed trick-or-treaters were stealing his Wi-Fi signal because his doorbell camera lagged every time they approached. He called the internet provider demanding spiritual cybersecurity. They told him to buy a better router. He responded by wrapping his house in tinfoil and posting no signal zone signs everywhere. Kids started daring each other to walk past it while live streaming. His front yard became known as the buffer zone. A YouTuber filmed a ghost hunting episode there, finding only weak Wi-Fi and strong delusion. The man now insists his router is haunted and that 5G is secretly short for fifth ghost. 37, a South Carolina teen filed a school complaint claiming sexy Grim Reaper costumes created an unsafe learning environment. The principal dismissed it until the school's football team showed up to the pep rally dressed in identical outfits, wielding plastic scythes. The incident trended under #DeathFlex. The student doubled down, arguing the costumes objectified mortality. The PTA responded by releasing a statement encouraging appropriate skeleton representation. Spirit Halloween seized the moment by selling new costumes labeled Respectful Reaper. The principal resigned, citing spiritual fatigue. The teen later became an anti-costume activist, but ironically ended up modeling for the Respectful Reaper campaign. 38, in Michigan, a group of neighbors complained that a nearby farm's corn maze was too confusing. One man said he missed his dentist appointment because he got lost for 2 hours. The farmer defended it as an authentic rural experience. The county considered requiring exit signs for agricultural mazes. Teenagers started posting TikToks pretending to be corn ghosts trapped forever. The farmer leaned in, adding a fake haunted voice that whispered, "You will never find the parking lot." Attendance doubled. The complainers returned next year armed with GPS devices, but they still got lost again. The farmer's new slogan says it all. Get lost responsibly. 39. A man in Maine accused a local bakery of holiday manipulation after they released pumpkin spice donuts in August. He claimed it disrupted his emotional calendar. He made a protest sign reading "Too soon for spice" and stood outside for 3 days. Customers thought it was performance art and bought more donuts. The bakery rewarded him with a free dozen and posted his photo with the caption, "Pumpkin Picket Man." He tried to sue for mockery, but the judge said, "It's just pastries." Now he's an autumn meme, appearing every year on t-shirts holding his sign. Ironically, he admits he still buys the donuts. 40, in Louisiana, a man filed a noise complaint against his own animatronic Frankenstein, claiming it was mocking him. The figure had a motion sensor that groaned every time he walked past, which he interpreted as sarcasm. He unplugged it, but it still moved because the neighbor secretly powered it with a solar panel. He called a priest, an electrician, and finally a therapist. All three said the same thing. Take a break from decorating. Instead, he built a scarecrow shaped like Frankenstein holding a sign that said, "We're on a break." The animatronic mysteriously stopped groaning afterward. Locals call it Louisiana's first recorded case of paranormal divorce. 41. In Oregon, a man wrote a complaint to Target claiming Halloween should be moved to September because he ran out of spooky enthusiasm before October 15th. He said by mid-month, his cobwebs looked depressed. Target sent him a $5 coupon and a link to therapy. Instead, he formed the Early Fright Society, encouraging people to celebrate pre-fall Halloween. His group held a meeting in August but got shut down when someone brought Christmas cookies. Now he roams local stores, rating their Halloween aisles like a food critic. Last year, he gave Spirit Halloween 5 out of 5 for emotional dread freshness. His neighbors call him the pumpkin procrastinator. He calls himself seasonally oppressed. 42. A Kansas woman went viral after she accused her grocery store of emotional manipulation for playing Monster Mash in the produce aisle. She said it caused seasonal anxiety attacks. The store apologized but refused to change the playlist. In protest, she began shopping in noise-canceling headphones labeled anti-spook mode. TikTok found her instantly, dubbing her the Mash Basher. Someone remixed her angry rant into a dance track, which ironically trended under the same song she hated. Even the local radio joined in, creating a segment called Monster Mash Mondays. She deleted her Facebook but reportedly still shops there, mouthing the lyrics in denial. 43. A California influencer hosted a pumpkin detox retreat where attendees buried their jack-o'-lanterns to release holiday toxins. She charged $800 per person, offering spiritual exfoliation through pumpkin compost. Locals filed complaints when wild raccoons overran the area, mistaking it for a buffet. When animal control arrived, the influencer claimed it was a raccoon energy experience. Her followers called it life-changing. The rest of the internet called it a biohazard. She's now banned from Airbnb retreats but sells pumpkin detox candles online, promising cleanse without rodents. Ironically, the raccoons became social media mascots, earning their own sponsorships. The influencer insists the real harvest was self-awareness. 44. A Vermont ski resort faced backlash after launching a Halloween snowy scare event featuring snowmen dressed as clowns. Guests said it traumatized their children because the snowmen melted mid-scare, leaving puddles of colored water that looked like clown murders. The resort's PR team tried rebranding it as abstract frost art. That didn't help. Videos went viral showing a child crying beside a melting clown hat. The hashtag Frozen Fear trended nationwide. Local businesses capitalized by selling limited edition melted clown mugs. The resort canceled the event but offered ski passes for emotional recovery. Unfortunately, the snowmen reappeared the next morning due to overnight snowfall. The staff swore they didn't build them. 45. A Florida homeowner filed a formal complaint that his neighbor's Halloween lights were too LED. He said the brightness violated traditional candlelit values. He claimed the flashing pumpkins caused migraines and moral decline. The city offered him free sunglasses. Instead, he installed blackout curtains and began patrolling the street at night with a lantern, muttering about digital demons. TikTok loved it, calling him the anti-LED Avenger. Teens now drive by flashing lights at his house just to trigger his moral panic. He's considering suing the moon for brightness inconsistency. His HOA begged him to stop writing poetry titled Light Pollution of the Soul. He only writes louder. 46. A Nebraska man tried to host a minimalist Halloween using only one pumpkin and a single candle. His neighbors mocked him, calling it Diet Halloween. Determined to prove a point, he made a YouTube channel documenting his simple, spooky journey. It went viral for all the wrong reasons. Commenters kept adding CGI monsters and jump scares to his minimalist videos. One edit of him slowly lighting the candle became a horror meme titled Budget Boogeyman. He now sells merch that says I spent $0 on fear. Ironically, his minimalist Halloween series earned him enough ad revenue to buy an entire haunted mansion. He claims he'll decorate it with just vibes. 47. In Georgia, a theme park's Nightmare Discount Day went horribly wrong when the coupon scanner broke, and guests thought the screams were part of the show. Employees waved for help, but visitors applauded the realism. Management tried to explain over the loudspeaker, but their microphone echoed like a ghost moan. The incident lasted 40 minutes before anyone realized they were genuinely trapped. Someone uploaded the footage calling it immersive capitalism. The park leaned into it, renaming the event Panic Pay. Attendance doubled the next year. OSHA investigated, but visitors now beg to relive the discount disaster. It's officially listed as the most successful mistake in haunted attraction history. 48. A Massachusetts woman accused her neighbor of spirit inflation because their decorations got bigger every year. She said the giant skeleton arms reaching over her fence caused unfair comparison pressure. The neighbor responded by adding animatronic fingers that waved at her. Soon the entire block joined in, creating a contest called Skeleton Arms Race. The city issued a warning about decorative escalation. A YouTuber judged the displays live, calling it the Armageddon of Halloween. The woman finally surrendered and bought a 12-foot inflatable zombie holding a coffee cup that said, "Defeated but caffeinated." It deflated mid-interview, which made her an instant meme. 49. A Minnesota couple filed a noise complaint against their own child's Halloween playlist. They said the constant loop of spooky, scary skeletons for 12 hours caused psychological deterioration. The kid argued it was performance art. Neighbors joined in by blasting the same song in sync until the entire street became a living flash mob. Local police refused to intervene because the officer said it slapped. The parents eventually joined the dance in exhaustion. A drone captured the moment and it became an official town event. Now every October, the mayor declares Skeleton Sink Day, and the same song plays citywide at noon sharp. Therapy appointments spike the next morning. 50. A Pennsylvania mayor banned Halloween fireworks after residents complained that the explosions were confusing ghosts. People claim the spirits were losing direction due to excessive noise. Ghost enthusiasts protested by holding seances in the park, waving glow sticks for spiritual navigation. One psychic accidentally summoned the local weatherman instead. The mayor panicked when a ghost-shaped balloon floated through City Hall, thinking it was retaliation. The ban backfired when residents replaced fireworks with thousands of squeaky rubber bats. The noise was somehow worse. Historians now call it the year the bats won. The mayor still insists it was a successful compromise when the ghosts have not commented. 51. A retired professor in New Mexico started an online petition demanding Halloween be replaced with National Accountability Day. He said candy teaches moral corruption and costumes encourage identity fraud. Only 7 people signed, all professors he met in the yogurt aisle. He held a one-man protest wearing a sign that read, "Justice, not jelly beans." A group of teenagers walked by dressed as IRS agents and gave him fake citations for emotional tax evasion. Someone filmed it and titled the clip "Trick or Teach." He now records daily videos rating candy by ethical standards, giving Reese's zero integrity but high charisma. His slogan is catching on though. Fear the lecture, not the monster. 52. In Colorado, a wellness coach claimed jack-o'-lanterns absorb negative frequencies. She began offering home pumpkin cleansings for $50 per gourd. Her clients said the only thing that vanished was their cash. When asked for proof, she said glowing faces were proof of emotional detox. A skeptical reporter attended one session and left covered in glitter and regret. The woman rebranded as Pumpkin Priestess and started live streaming on full moons. Followers send her pictures of glowing vegetables, begging for spiritual renewal. She sells an essential oil called Orange Enlightenment that smells like expired pumpkin pie. Her newest product is a candle labeled Manifestation Through Mold. It's sold out instantly. 53. A Washington, D.C. think tank released a 40-page paper titled The Economics of Candy Corn. It argued that candy corn's triangular design symbolizes capitalist hierarchy. The author went on a morning show explaining how it brainwashes children into craving inequality. The host laughed so hard they cut to commercial. Within hours, candy companies responded by launching a rebrand called Corn for the People. The Economist doubled down, suggesting a round version to redistribute sweetness. No one bought it. Kids began throwing candy corn at his office windows as a form of protest. He called it trickle-down sugar. Now his colleagues joke that his entire career got eaten by capitalism. 54. A pastor in Alabama declared that inflatable skeletons were doorways to moral decay. He held weekly sermons called Bone Ban, encouraging followers to deflate their decorations in repentance. His message spread fast until someone noticed he was secretly selling holy air pumps online. When confronted, he said they were for emergency exorcisms. TikTok roasted him so hard that he accidentally became an influencer. He now reviews Halloween props for theological risk and rates them from angelic to blasphemous. One clip of him dramatically blessing a skeleton with holy water hit 5 million views. He still insists he's saving souls, but everyone knows he's saving it revenue. 55. In Las Vegas, a woman called 911 claiming her Alexa device was possessed after it kept recommending horror movies she hadn't searched. She said it whispered "boo" every time she asked for weather updates. The police arrived to find her TV auto-playing Paranormal Activity because her cat had stepped on the remote. She refused to believe it. The next day, she hired a priest, an IT guy, and a medium. The priest left laughing, the IT guy left richer, and the medium left terrified because Alexa ordered 12 crucifixes mid-session. She now refuses to use voice assistants and only communicates with her smart home through sticky notes. 56. In New Jersey, a philosopher claimed Halloween was proof society feared boredom more than death. He handed out essays instead of candy, titled Being and Booing. Children threw them back. Undeterred, he started a YouTube channel reviewing existential costumes like Midlife Crisis Dracula and Zombie Without Purpose. Nobody subscribed, but his neighbors tuned in just to mock his monologues. One year he dressed as nothing, wearing all beige and standing still at intersections. Drivers kept honking, thinking he was a traffic cone. The video went viral. Now he gives TED Talks about how absurdity brings enlightenment. His latest lecture ends with him saying what everyone's thinking. Life's short, eat the candy. And that's Halloween, where logic goes missing faster than your candy stash. If you made it this far, you deserve a medal, or at least a full-size Snickers. Drop your favorite complaint below, and if you've got one weirder than these, well, maybe you'll end up in part 3.